The Detroit Pistons are down 3-1. Game 5 coming up in Madison Square Garden. What's our thoughts on the series thus far? How can the Pistons get back into the series? Is the series still even alive? We'll break all that down today's episode of Locked On Pistons podcast. Let's go.
You are Locked On Pistons, your daily Detroit Pistons podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's the deal? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast. Per usual, I am your host, Khahil. You can find me over on Twitter at Khahil. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We're free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on. That's another great way to support the podcast. And today's episode is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Turn any TV into your Xbox. No console needed. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to learn more. Also, head over to LockedOnDaily.com. Type in your email. You'll get a Locked On Pistons daily newsletter along with your Locked On Pistons daily podcast. Head over to the Substack in the description down below. I just put out my film breakdown for the fourth quarter of Game 4. If you guys want to check that out, it's over there on my Substack. Also, if you want to join me and my guest Matt here on Playback to watch the Pistons live watch parties for the Pistons playoff games, I'll link that down below as well. But as I just said, I am joined by my guy, Matt Griffin. You can find him over on Twitter at Griff101. You can also find, actually, Matt, go ahead and let them know where they can find you everywhere.
100.9 The Mid on the payoff, 6 to 7 weekdays. Till or No Till podcast. I'm on there too. We just recorded an episode, but the audio was bad. So yeah, you gotta give us some grace. Maybe after Game 5. Yeah, that's really it. Twitter. That's where you find most of my opinions and the playback.
All right, so we're gonna get into it today about what's our thoughts just overall on this series so far. The Pistons are down 3-1. It feels like they very easily could be up 3-1, at the very least 2-2. And then we'll talk about adjustments that need to be, that we believe the Pistons should have for Game 5 if they want to extend the series. But, Matt, let's start with our thoughts on this series. And me and Matt were talking about this before we even started recording. This is going to go all over the place, so be ready. Matt, I'll let you start off, man. Where do you want to take this first? What's your thoughts on the series this far? Where are you at? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, overall thoughts, like, it's been a good series, right? Like a very entertaining series, like a hurtful series to be a part of, but it hurts because the games are so engaging, right? And that's what you ask for as a sports fan, is for your emotions to be taken on the roller coaster that this series has taken you on. But like one notable thing, not even from the Pistons side, but like their all NBA guys have played like all NBA guys, right? Both of them. I think both of those guys, when the game has gotten tight in the fourth quarter, they've both shown up. And it's been kind of apparent, like, okay, yeah, this is what like playoff level shot creation looks like. Like this is what having a 1 and a 2 looks like. There's been a lot of possessions in those fourth quarters where, you know, as much as we rag on the Pistons for letting go of the rope because they've done it in multiple games, and I think that that's a fair thing to critique. Like they've got two of the best shot makers at their position in the league, right? And I think that both those guys have made those shots. We don't have, the best matchups in the world for them. And I think that that's kind of what has guided the series to being 3-1 above kind of anything else.
Yeah, look, this, like you mentioned to start off, the Pistons have been in every single game. They've had a chance to win every single game. They really could feel like they're up 3-1. They've had chances at the end of games to win all of these games. I mean, they played for a series to be, like you mentioned, for a series to be 3-1. This has been the most even series, I think, outside the Denver or Los Angeles Clippers series in round 1. I think those two series have been the best series in the playoffs. This has been insanely competitive, and the Pistons could be up in this series right now. I think what's been my thoughts in the series so far is that the Pistons have strayed away from what's made them so good. And if they didn't stray away from what's made them good, and instead tried to match what's happened as the series has went on, I felt like Game 1 and Game 2, I feel like the Pistons were making the Knicks play their brand of basketball. I feel like as the series has went on, especially later in games, especially in Game 4, as games have went on, and as quarters go on, the Knicks are starting to make the Pistons play their brand of basketball, and the Pistons aren't going to win that way. And I think that's been the most frustrating part for me. We spoke about it before the podcast. This is going to be a large part of the podcast. We're going to get into it, but that's what's most frustrating for me, is that the Pistons could, I believe, be up 3-1, at the very least tied 2-2, if they stay true to their identity and hit those pressure points that they can hit with their strengths. And I feel like they've too often went away from it, and with minimal gain, with minimal upside coming from it. And it's a bit frustrating, but overall, look, I think Cade, has he been perfect? No, but considering the context and his first playoff series, I don't know how you don't walk away saying Cade's been, he's doing what he can, and you should feel good about him moving forward in the playoffs. Like I don't have any questions about whether Cade's going to be a playoff riser or he's going to choke in the playoffs in the future. Like Cade,
cut you off real quick and just ask, like, if there has been some meat left on the bone, what do you think it is?
in regards to what I was just talking about.
Yeah, just generally with Cade series, like overall.
I think Cade
Processor, or I don't want to just say I wish he made the shot because that's obvious, but I don't know if there's anything with his process in particular that you feel like has stuck out that needs to grow, because he is a young guard at the end of the day.
I think his shot making just, to be honest, the turnovers are tough. Like, obviously, the turnovers have been a problem since he's came into the NBA. I think it's always going to be a problem with Cade. I think it's something that he's always going to deal with going back and forth. For me, the 3-point shot being gone, or being at the very least inconsistent throughout this series has really hurt him. I think for the most part, he's doing a fine job of attacking this defense that the Knicks are throwing at. They're throwing so many bodies at him, doubles, traps, blitzes. He's being attacked nonstop. And I think he's done a fine job of getting out of those, and generating the best possible offense the Pistons could create in the half court. I think he's just missed a few shots that he usually makes. I think that's where it really hurts. I think it's going to hurt for Cade in the offseason too, all summer. I think he's going to replay those 2 mid-range shots he missed at the end of this game. I think that those are going to be haunting him all offseason, because those are shots he can make. I think he's had some good looks, and he just hasn't had them go down. But overall, I think he's been, even defensively, I think defensively he's been fine too. Like last game he had 4 blocks. So I don't know how much more, considering the context of what we expected to happen, how much better Cade actually could be playing outside of just hitting more shots.
Yeah, I think the defense point is a good one, right? Like, I don't know, he's the best guy. Like, he's the only guy really that I trust on OG at this point, of the guys who are getting consistent minutes. OG is just kind of physically going to overwhelm both of the shooters and Schroeder, but I think his process has been pretty good. And like you said, it's a tough context for him, given who's on the other team, who's coaching the other team. Like the pick and roll itself has kind of been bottled up, right? Like, they're not guarding. There's always a guy that they're not guarding on the floor. Not always, but in the very vast majority of minutes, there is a guy on the floor that the Knicks are not going to guard. And Josh Hart has generally been the guy guarding, quote unquote, guarding said player. And I think that he's done a fantastic job just being early and timing up like those tags and kind of taking away any lob threat that Duren poses. I do wish, I think for Cade, I don't want to over act like he's had a bad series per se. Obviously the turnovers are bad. I would love to know, this is going to sound like Cade, I would love to know how many guys have won a series averaging 6 turnovers. I tried to look for it, but like, it's a bit of a Pistons problem, a bit of a Cade problem, a bit of a credit to the Knicks. I think that everybody gets a little piece of that pie. But I think getting off the ball a little bit quicker when he's trapped it feels like one thing that, like, maybe, over time we can get a little bit better at. It does feel like he's holding it a bit. And a lot of times, like, advantages that should be created aren't necessarily being created in the same way, or aren't being extended. And the other guys aren't great at extending said advantages. So, I cut him a little bit of slack there. The other thing though, like, if you're going to be relied upon this much, if you're Cade Cunningham and you're going to be relied upon this much to create offense, which of course he is, I feel like the 3-point volume does have to be higher. Like, this is still kind of a jump shot heavy guy, right? He's not all jump shots by any means, but he's also not Derrick Rose, right? Like, this is still a player who's going to rely on jump shots, who's not just like an automatic paint touch by any means, who isn't like necessarily adept at just kind of emptying aside and letting him go to work. Like, I would definitely like if we could hunt our own threes a little bit more, create our own threes. I feel like almost all of his threes in the series have felt like they've been catch and shoot, and that's okay. Obviously, I want him to take those, and I don't think his process has been horrible. But
can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah, sure. Go.
Do you think, how much of that do you think has to do with that they're not playing drop off those screens, that they're trapping and blitzing, so he's not coming off screens, getting clean looks, or getting a chance to even walk into threes?
No, that's definitely a huge part of it. Like, again, I think it's a little bit more of a self-creating thing. I don't think that there's a ton of opportunity to walk into a jump shot off of a screen, right? But given the rate at which we're creating good shots, which is low right now, right? I wouldn't mind if Cade did mix in a couple more step backs and a couple more pull-ups, just in kind of isolation, if possible. I know that that's not completely his game, but he's our best player, right? And he's a really fantastic shooter.
No, yeah, the 3-point volume, I do agree, needs to go up. He's not taking enough. The pull-up 3-point shooting was one of the things we were waiting for all season. It came this season, and now it's just basically not really been existent. I do think, like I said, I think a lot of it has to do with the coverage that they're running on pick and rolls. But like you said, he can still create those on some isolations, get some step back threes going.
When Brunson clears out of that hard hedge, like there's like an inch of space there. Like there's a slight window to try to create something.
There was a few times he tried to get a three off. I think he's airball both of those. I think I can think of two right now where it felt like OG kind of maybe got a tip on one on the left wing. I think it was game 2. And then there was another one. I know he hit in game 1, I think, on the left wing on Madison Square Garden. He drained. No, that was game 2. He drained one on the left wing en route to scoring 33. But yeah, there's definitely been more openings when Brunson goes to recover that he could let it fly. So I agree that the 3-point volume definitely could get better. But coming up, there's some things that me and Matt this is gonna be fun to talk about. Other thoughts about the series that has kind of going back to what I've said earlier about the Pistons straying away from their identity and kind of costing themselves some reps, some runs, some games, I think, and how they can adjust this moving forward. We'll talk about that coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder where did all the money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. So you just stop managing money and start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off for your first year at monarchmoney.com. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We're free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. Also, LockedOnDaily.com. Type in your email, you get that Locked On Pistons daily newsletter. Description down below for the playback room, live watch parties for the Pistons games, and also the Substack where I just did a film breakdown over Game 4, fourth quarter. If you guys want to check that out, it just published. All right, so Matt, let's get into what I was referencing earlier. So this kind of goes along with our thoughts on the series and things they can adjust moving forward. I feel like the Pistons have swayed away too often from what has made them good all season and have tried to become something they are not. I feel like there's been too many times that they've tried, and we'll just go ahead and reveal it. I know people are going to be ready to hear this one. It's been a civil war in the Pistons community about this topic, but I challenge anybody to come up with evidence that supports the other side, because I'm about to drop bombs of evidence here. It's about to be just loads of evidence here. The Pistons, let me just say it. They're not playing Ausar Thompson enough. Let's just be real. They're not playing Ausar Thompson enough. And I understand that the half-court offense has not looked pretty. I understand that Ausar has had a few wonky plays. That is true. And he had 4 turnovers last game. He can't have 4 turnovers. I get all of that. But what people have to understand is that I don't want to say it doesn't matter as if he can't do no wrong. He can. He needs to be better. But in this context, it really does not matter because he still should play. I'm going to start bringing some of the evidence to the board, and then Matt can chime in. I have loads of evidence that I'm about to use right here. The first bit of evidence is this. Go ahead and pull this up. If you guys are looking at the screen, if you guys are watching or listening on the podcast, I'll break it down for you guys. But if you're looking at the screen, you will see the top 6 or top 7 lineups in the NBA playoffs through round 1. What you'll see is that the Detroit Pistons starting lineup is the 5th best lineup in the playoffs. They are dominating their minutes. The Piston starters of Cade, THJ, Ausar, Tobias, and Duren have dominated the Knicks. We'll reveal some other stuff later that goes along with this. Be ready. But that 5-man lineup is a plus 19.2 net rating in 50 minutes. They are dominating the Knicks. Their starting lineup is dominating the Knicks starting lineup. The fact that they're not closing with this lineup, the fact they're not playing longer of this lineup, the fact they're going away from this lineup, I don't understand. This lineup is the same lineup since January 4th that we've talked about on the podcast probably 100 times of being this lineup was top 6 in the NBA regular season, the final 30 games of the year in net rating. They were top 6 then. They continue to be dominant in the playoffs, and the Pistons are just not playing it enough. They're going away from it far too often. That's piece of evidence number 1. Piece of evidence number 2. This is Jalen Duren's, all of Jalen Duren's duo lineups, 2-man lineups. If you're looking at the screen, you'll see it. We'll explain it for you guys listening on the podcast. Jalen Duren has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lineups that qualify with a 2-man lineup. We're going to get rid of the Paul Reed line because it was 1 minute played. There's only one lineup that has played over 30 minutes and has a positive net rating. It's Jalen Duren and Ausar Thompson. Why is that? Because that's the only lineup they can get stops. It's the only lineup they can play defense. They have a defensive rating of 100.0 of that duo. You guys want to hear what every other duo is? That doesn't have Ausar Thompson. Every other duo with Jalen Duren, without Ausar, every single one in this series. Tim Hardaway Jr., Jalen Duren have a defensive rating of 119.3, and they're a minus 11.7. Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren are a minus 12.7 and have a defensive rating of 112.7. Tobias Harris and Jalen Duren have a defensive rating of 115.8. They're a minus 13.9. Dennis Schroeder and Jalen Duren have a defensive rating of 120.5. They're a minus 23.7. And Malik Beasley and Jalen Duren, which is by far the worst, have a defensive rating of 123.2 and a minus 36.9 net rating. All of the best offensive rating out of any of these duos, 107.5. The offense is not working. Taking out your best defender for offense when the offense isn't going to be good anyways, and then just making your defense 20 points worse, unless your offense is going to make up 20 points, it doesn't matter. That's piece of evidence number 2. Piece of evidence number 3. If you're looking at the screen, I'm sorry, Matt, you'll get in here soon. If you're looking at the screen, this is the Pistons on-off through the 4 games. The person who has played at least 35 minutes to have the highest on-off net rating is Ausar Thompson. He is a plus 14.2. Why is that? Because the defensive rating is 13.1 points better with him on the floor. They are winning his minutes by 8.3 points. To contrast, Jalen Duren's on-off is the worst on the team with a minus 42.6 on-off. A minus 42.6. The only way Jalen Duren's lineups have been usable and have been good is when Ausar Thompson's on the floor because they get enough stops to then run in transition. The offensive rating with Ausar on the floor is better than when he's off. They have a 108.3 with them on the floor and 107.2 with them off. It's better with them on. So that takes me to this. And I'll leave the last piece of data to Matt, because I know he has some stuff that he wanted to use. I'm not going to use all of it. I'll let him use some of it. This will be a longer segment. If we have to, we'll go into the third segment and talk about the same thing. What people are not comprehending, or not understanding, is that the argument is you're taking Ausar out because you want the half-court offense to be better. The half-court offense is bad no matter what. That's what we're not understanding. The half-court offense is bad no matter who you have on the floor because they don't have any other creator but Cade. And the shooters are shooting under 32% from 3. Along with that, you're giving up 20 points on defense. Along with that, you're then eliminating the Pistons' best offense, which is their defense, and leads into the fast break opportunities. You're getting rid of all three of those things for the idea of better offense. And what I was
going to say, theoretically, the half-court offense is better. Theoretically.
Yes, for the idea of it being better. And go back to what I said earlier, and I'll kick it to Matt. The Pistons have gone away from what's made them great all year. What's made them great all year has not been their half-court offense. Their half-court offense all year has been below average all year. They have not been a good half-court offense. What's made them good is that they're number 1 and 2 in fast break, number 1 and 2 in points off turnovers, points 1 and 2 in transition offense. They've been the top 5 defense since January 4th. That's what's made them good. So to go away from that, and Matt's about to talk about it, I'll kick it to him right after this. To go away from that and try to go band for band with the all-NBA guys that Matt's talking about in a half-court setting, you're going to lose that. You will lose it. They have lost it every time. You will not win the band for band in a half-court offensive setting. Jalen Brunson and Cat dominated the Pistons in the fourth after they took Ausar out with 7 minutes left. They got outscored 24-13. So they made this up for the offense, couldn't score, and they couldn't get stops. You're not going to outscore the Knicks in the half court. It's not going to happen. You have to beat them on defense, which they can, and they have, and in transition. Going away from it is just mind-boggling to me. It's mind-boggling. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I think just to your overall point here, I guess there's a few things that you just went through that I.
So I'll let you. How about this? Let me tell you this. We're at 21 minutes. Right. I'm going to give you to the 23:30 mark, and then we'll come back and I'll let you take the next 5 minutes.
How charitable of you. All right. I think
I got to get the ads.
One, I won't get to my data yet, but one, I do want to say, I don't think Duren has been as bad as those numbers think, personally. Like, just from an eye test perspective, watching the game, yes, Duren has had some bad mistakes, but I also think, I think it's notable. These are small sample sizes. I do think Duren's numbers that you just, like the net rating numbers, the defensive rating numbers in particular, are suffering because Cat is just hitting shots on him. Like, if you went through and said the 6 or 7 toughest shots that Cat has hit, and Cat has been hitting tough shots. I'm sorry, baseline fadeaways to ice the game twice now. I don't know that I've ever seen him shoot that shot. Seriously, I don't know that I've ever seen him shoot that shoulder shake. Oh, basically over the backboard. Baseline fadeaway to ice the game. He's done it twice. He's hit threes, like step back, 30-foot three over Duren. That's contested. I can't be mad at Jalen Duren for that. I feel like Duren is playing better defense than those numbers state. I think, particularly after game one. Game one was rough. Also, to your Ausar Thompson point, I think this is indicative of the larger Ausar Thompson conversation that happens just in general. I'm not saying, Ku's not saying, and I say that because we're generally, in line with this. We're not saying Ausar is an awesome half-court offensive player. That is not what anybody is saying. We are saying we have loads and loads of evidence over loads and loads of games. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter is the wrong word. He makes up for it and then some. At the end of the day, the question is not, does Ausar Thompson make our half-court offense better? The question is, does Ausar Thompson make our basketball team better? And throughout this season, throughout his career, throughout this series, the answer is yes. So, to continue to not play him in the fourth quarter, I want to bring up some Jalen Brunson stats, but I know we got to take a break. To continue to not play him in the fourth quarter is essentially to continue to say, hey, clutch player of the year. Go on ahead and do whatever you want. That's what it's saying. Go ahead. Murder us. Put our face in the pillow game after game after game. That's what's happening in every fourth quarter. And we're not going to come back if it doesn't stop. We're not.
We're going to go to the ad break, and I'll let Matt get all the pieces of evidence he has in and everything else he has to say coming up. But gotta get to the ads. This episode is brought to you by Wayfair. Spring is here, and that means it's home project season. Whether you're refreshing a room or tackling a full renovation, Wayfair is the best kept secret for all things home improvement. From small updates like stylish cabinet hardware to major upgrades like new vanities, sinks, or outdoor lighting, Wayfair has quality products for every budget. Their free and fast shipping made it so easy. No hauling heavy items from the store. I love that they have top brands like GE and Moen at great prices. Shopping was seamless, and I found exactly what I needed to fit my space and style. Wayfair makes home improvement easy. Get ready and get started now at wayfair.com. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Get started now at wayfair.com. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. Free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review, whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on. You guys know the description down below for all the links. Locked On Daily for the Locked On Pistons Daily newsletter. All right, Matt, go ahead. You were talking about the fourth quarter scoring and pillow face, whatever. Go ahead.
Look, Jalen Brunson is a killer, man. He's one of the, I don't know, like off the top of my, like he's one of the 5 or 6 best playoff scorers that we have in the world right now. He's killed in just about every playoff series he's been in. He's had series averaging 40. He's a killer. 35 last game. Like, it is what everybody's watching it. The touch inside the arc is unreal. He's shooting from wherever. We load up a whole side. We shell up. We finally feel like we're in a really good position and we've got the matchups that we want. Sidestep 3, right? Like, Jalen Brunson's been nails. You know why? You know what Jalen Brunson hasn't been nails? It's when Ausar Thompson is on the floor. 17 minutes last game with Ausar Thompson off the floor. In 17 minutes, Jalen Brunson had 21 and 6 of 56% shooting from the field. We could just say, we can do it easy. Per 34, not even per 36. Easy math. That's 42 and 12. That can't happen when Ausar Thompson was on the floor, when he was guarding Jalen Brunson. Not even just guarding Jalen Brunson. Simply when Ausar Thompson is on the floor in 21 minutes, Jalen Brunson had 11 points, 5 assists, 40% from the field. Game 3, 18 minutes with Ausar Thompson on the floor. Jalen Brunson had 10 and 2, 25% from the field in 18 minutes. 21 minutes with Thompson off the floor. Thompson off the floor in 21 minutes in Game 3. Jalen Brunson had 20 and 7, 58% from the field. I wrote this for a radio audience, so I didn't do true shooting. Game 2, Ausar on the floor. Jalen Brunson in 20 minutes with Ausar on the floor had 12 points and 2 assists, 33%. With Ausar off the floor, 25 and 5. So JB Bickerstaff is saying we can either have Jalen Brunson be Michael Jordan or Killian Hayes. In every single fourth quarter, JB Bickerstaff is pressing the Michael Jordan button over and over again. We'll play Michael Jordan again. We'll play against Michael Jordan again. We can compete against Michael Jordan again. I bet we'll beat Michael Jordan this time. It's not happening. It's not happening. He's maybe the best wing defender in the world. There's nobody walking planet Earth more equipped to guard Jalen Brunson. And instead of leaving that guy on the floor and figuring it out, yeah, the half-court offense might struggle a little bit as you continue to grow that sample. The shooters could start shooting, and that might change some of Ku's stats. I understand that. You are taking away their weapon X. He's dominated every fourth quarter. Every single fourth quarter. And we have a button to press to make that stop happening, and we're not pressing. And I don't get it. You can't make it make sense to me.
I have a few more numbers to bring up for this. So that starting lineup that I talked about with the Pistons, the Cade, THA, Tobias, Ausar, Duren, that has a plus 19.3 net rating. If you take out Ausar and you put in Schroeder or Beasley in place of him, I want you guys to listen to what the net rating is. It goes from plus 19.2. If you take out Ausar and sub in any of the other ones, it goes to minus 65.5 and minus 54.9. Like Matt said earlier, the point is not that Ausar is not good in the half court. You're right. No one is saying that Ausar is good in the half court offense. No one is saying that he is perfect. No one is saying that he doesn't have things he has to improve on. No one is saying that he may have a bad play here or there on the half court offense. But like Matt said earlier, I'll come out and say it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. Because for the overall impact, it just doesn't. He unlocks the other things that they are good at. When you take him off the floor, you are taking away what they're great at. And they are not getting out in transition as much. They're not getting stops. They're just not getting stops without him on the floor. Their defense is terrible. They're 13 points worse defensively with them off the floor. You're not getting stops, and the offense isn't making up for that. Like I mentioned, last game, you subbed him out with 7 minutes left in the game. It was an 8-point lead. And by the way, I've seen people say Ausar contributed to them going on a run. That's false. That's just not true. When Ausar came into the game with 9 minutes left, it was an 8-point game. When he left, it was an 8-point game. It was the exact same margin. When he came in and left. When he left and they brought in more offense, they scored 13 points the rest of the game. If you're not going to be able to score, it is not worth trading your defense off the floor for a middling half-court offense anyways. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Not only are you trading your defense off the Go ahead,
You're
Matt.
in the half court less also when he's on the court, which is like maybe the wider point to just the offense not, falling off of a cliff when he comes in the game. Like, does he make your half court offense worse? Yes. You're also in the half court substantially less when he's on the floor because he is creating turnovers. He is creating transition opportunity. And I mean, I'm not going to say another number the rest of this podcast because I feel like both me and you have said too many numbers already. Probably a little bit boring to listen to. But like, I watch what the Knicks do, right? No, we're not really guarding Josh Hart, right? We're cheating off Josh Hart. We're roaming off Josh Hart. We're treating him as a non-threat, as we should, as I stated that we should before the series had started. So what did the Knicks do? Instead of saying, hey, take Josh Hart off the floor when he is an impactful basketball player because of the way that he rebounds, the way that he passes, he's initiating more. He's screening more. A lot of times, Josh Hart, like this last game, Josh Hart he made threes, right? Which they can't necessarily count on. He had a really good game. So salute to him. But one of the adjustments, quote unquote, that it seems like they made was when Josh Hart gets a rebound, he's pushing. Because, okay, maybe Josh Hart isn't a threat in and of himself to score, but when Josh Hart can grab and go, what do we have to do? We have to immediately match up. What does that create? Cross matches. So now what do you end up with? A Tim Hardaway Jr. guarding Jalen Brunson. You end up with Ausar stuck on Cat. You get the idea. You end up with bad matchups, and it's like that could be happening for us. Cade could be relieved of the OG Anunoby pressure every possession if we just push the ball down the floor a little bit more. If Jalen Duren does have the ability to just grab and go, which he has the ability to, he hasn't done it a whole lot. Well, he did do it once, and it was a turnover. So, but like they're finding ways to utilize Josh Hart is my point. And it doesn't feel like we've been able to respond the same way with Ausar Thompson. And Ausar Thompson is more important to us than Josh Hart is to them.
Yes.
Which is not a dig at Josh Hart, but that just is what it is. And they've been able to find a way to keep him on the floor. We can't keep our guy on the floor. That's the series.
The other adjustment, and I pointed out during the live watch party that the Knicks did, they started having Josh Hart be the entry passer to a lot of Karl-Anthony Towns post-ups. So now you can't double along the baseline because Josh Hart's in the weak side corner. Now he's one pass away. So now you're not doubling from the baseline. You're giving Cat a clear outlet, and it's harder for Duren to get down and double. And Cat was able to go off. The Knicks are doing a lot, and I said this before the series started. They did have a lot more answers. They're a more talented team, so they will have more answers to counters. But this specific one, the Pistons are actively just shooting themselves in the foot for no reason. Yeah. I truly. And I know this has turned into a full Ausar podcast, but like it's worthy of it.
It's the story.
Like it is. Yes, it is the story of this series. It does not truly. And again, like you said earlier,
he should be playing better on offense. I also want to say, yes, he should be playing better on offense, without a doubt.
Yes, he should be playing better. He can't turn the ball over 4 times. You don't want to see him do that. He needs to make more shots. He needs to be more of a threat on offense. Yes. The point is, though, even if he isn't, you're not better by taking him off the floor. You're still not. You're just not better with taking him off the floor. Your defense is falling up. Like, guys, come on.
It's falling apart. No,
guys, look at this, bro. Come on.
It's a tough
guys. Like, bro.
It's a tough one.
Like your defense, it's not the fact that your defense falls off just a little bit and then your offense gets better. It's the fact that your defense literally is falling off a cliff and your offense is not getting better. Like I said on the last episode, if guys didn't listen, if the Pistons were subbing Ausar Thompson in, I'll throw this one up while I'm talking about this one. If you were subbing Ausar out for a Norman Powell, for a legit 6-man type of like self-creator, to where it actually would help your half-court offense, I would get it at that point. I would understand. You have another initiator, another self-creator. You want someone else to create offense. Okay, I get it. You want to try to deal that route? It should help the half-court offense. Fair. You're not doing that. The people you are bringing in are not better options and do not help your team. Malik Beasley is actively hurting the team in this series. He's not hitting threes, and he's not been good defensively. Like, the Pistons could have won multiple of these games. I don't understand. And like you said, Matt, I'll take that stat off. Actively, Jalen Brunson just basically saying, here you go, kill us in the fourth. And while we have maybe the best option in the league at guarding him on the bench, it's mind-numbing to me. It's crazy. It's mind-numbing. It's absolutely mind-numbing. And for those out there who are saying Dennis Schroeder has done a good job on Brunson, first of all, refer to Matt's numbers first. And second, Schroeder has done a fine job through quarter 1 to 3 when he can play up, in forecourt pressure him and kind of poke the pocket and get loose balls and stuff. That he has been fine. But what happens every fourth quarter is that they clear out the floor and Schroeder is too small, not strong enough to stop Brunson from getting to his spots. If you went through the film breakdown I did today, we went through every single Jalen Brunson shot with Schroeder in the fourth quarter. Schroeder is not strong enough to stop Brunson from getting to the paint and getting to his floater. He gets there every time. You need some, and even the broadcast mentioned it. I think it was Richard, I forget who it was, but the broadcast mentioned it. You want someone with size on Brunson, someone who's strong enough to handle his drives that can't get bumped off his drives so he can get those step backs and floaters off. Schroeder is fine, quarter 1 through 3. In the fourth, when they clear the floor out and let him get to the paint, Schroeder is not strong enough. He's just not. He's too small. You can elevate over him, and he's getting bumped off his spot. I'm gonna rage about this probably all offseason because it just doesn't make sense to me. I'm gonna rage about it all offseason. I feel like the Pistons shot themselves in the foot for no reason.
Yeah,
the half-court offense. Look, again, the Pistons do not have the weapons. They do not have the personnel to go band for band with Cat and Jalen Brunson in the half court. They have lost it every single time in the fourth quarter. Every time it goes, the Pistons willingly say, fine, we will engage you in this half court battle. They have lost. You will lose it every single time. You are going to lose it every single time. And Jalen Brunson is about to win Clutch Player of the Year, and you have the best defender for him sitting on the bench every fourth quarter. Ausar Thompson played 12 minutes in the fourth quarter all series.
It's not enough. It's not enough. There's not a ton of. I mean, there's other things to talk about, but as far as this topic, like, yeah, man, we've let go of the rope a lot of time. I don't think Ausar is by any means the reason for that. I think we can agree that there are problems with Ausar Thompson. He is not a perfect basketball player. He's not a complete basketball player. He's not even a complete basketball player. I'm not making the argument that he is. I'm arguing that what he has in spades matters so much. You have to play him regardless of it. You have to figure it out. That is the challenge for the Pistons on offense, right? Like, as much as anything, it feels like everything's been challenging for the Pistons on offense, but the quote unquote the asterisk the bold the all caps the challenge for the Pistons offense is keeping Ausar on the floor and making it work. And they failed that challenge. I shouldn't even say that they failed that challenge. They're not even accepting the challenge in the fourth quarter.
What's frustrating to me in this, we'll wrap it up here. What's frustrating to me is
about any other players. I had Paul Reed takes ready to go, but
bro, because this one was
it's worth it. It's worth it. No,
this is just like, it's just so crazy. But the last thing is this: if you were watching during the live playback, listeners out there, the Knicks started to put Jalen Brunson on Ausar. There is such a clear counter to this, and the Pistons went to it twice. They went to it twice, and I pointed out on the live playback room, and it worked. The counter is not, which is what they did the two possessions before Ausar was subbed out. They just gave him the ball and asked him to go ISO him, tried to go score, and that's when he got the air ball, and that's where he turned the ball over one. That's not the counter to it. The counter to it is put Ausar in the dunker spot and force Jalen Brunson to be the rim protector. They did it twice, and they scored both times. Ausar got a layup, and Duren got a dunk. Because if they're going to
rebound.
Yes, and you just force him to be in the paint and be some kind of impact player. He can't. If they are going to put it in most simple terms, and hopefully everyone can understand, if the Knicks are going to trap Cade at the top, and Cade hits Duren rolling in the short roll, instead of it being Josh Hart tagging, instead of someone else tagging, you now have Jalen Brunson trying to stop Duren rolling to the rim or Ausar in a lob. You should be putting Ausar in the weak side dunker spot, the weak side of wherever they're running the screen and roll. And in the short roll, you now have a 2-on-1 between Duren and Ausar. And if they want to try to hide a smaller guard on Ausar, you have now put him at the rim protection rep. This is what Joe Mazzulla does a ton of this with Drew Holiday, Derek White. He does it all the time. There are counters to this. There are things you can do. They have to be able to do it. It is what it is, man. I like
they do, man.
Seeing the numbers.
My closing thought.
Go ahead.
Play the note.
What was it? What did you say? You broke up. We lost Matt at the very end. But we're good with the podcast. We were wrapping up anyways. I want to thank you guys. Make Locked On Pistons your first listen every single day. The Pistons got to play them, dude. They just got to. Every single number you look at says they're better with them on the floor. They got to play them. They just got to. Hit that subscribe button to the YouTube channel. Leave us a 5-star review, whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. Another great way to support the podcast. I'll go ahead and take Matt off here. I want to say thank you guys, for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. Free available on all your podcast platforms. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay safe out there. Hopefully the Pistons win Game 5, extend this series. We'll see. Catch you guys next time. Peace out.